right, welcome back to the Quest for Success podcast, and welcome to our first ever bonus episode. We just thought we'd jump on and do a quick little wrap up of some of our key takeaways from our episodes that we've released so far. And I mean, we started this just as a bit of a hobby project on the Easter long weekend, and it's been close to 4 months now.
That's right. So 1st of April, we thought Easter long weekend, what should we do? So Dylan suggested, let's do a podcast. I thought, great way to connect and do something that we both enjoy. And then we asked, what's the topic? And then we thought, let's do what success mean to everyone. So the quest to success, that's how we started the quest to success. And now, after 13 episodes, we done amazing, and we enjoy every minute so far, and we learned so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the learning piece is probably the most important. And I suppose in those early episodes, the first 2 episodes, it was kind of just us. We were talking through your experience, a bit of my experience. And then in the second episode, it was really about our experiences at some Ivy League schools over Harvard and Stanford over in America, and talking through the amazing learnings that we've got from there. And then while you're away in Sri Lanka, I did a few episodes by myself, one with my granddad from my mum's side. And he was a carpenter for his entire life, and not really the traditional definition of successful. Didn't have a whole lot of money, but he was incredibly happy. And for him, success was all about building a strong family and feeling fulfilled. And then the next episode was with one of my best mates from high school, Michael G, who's over in the States at the moment. And that was a real conversation. He was asking me questions, I was asking him. And that was really talking through our experiences over in Silicon Valley and kind of the journey of starting a company. We're both starting something at the moment.
So while I was in Sri Lanka, I had the opportunity to talk to my dad. It was a long conversation. And then when I came back, I used that conversation, translate to Dylan and explain what my dad's story is all about and the learning. I didn't know many things about him before. I learned so much new things. And what I learned from that discussion is all about being honest to yourself and giving back. Don't forget your past and the people that help you.
Absolutely. And then the next episode 6, was with one of my great uni mates, Storm Drury, who is working at a startup at the moment in the solar space. And his was more about his physical pursuits. He's training for an Ironman, and he does so much with his time. And for him, it was all about success is something that he doesn't think he'll ever actually achieve. It's more about the bar is constantly moving and improving every single day was his key takeaway.
And then the 7th episode, we had the chance to talk to James Allen, one of our friends.
Yeah.
And that was an amazing story. James Allen is an explorer, and it's an awesome episode.
Yeah, it has so many stories from all his trips all over the world. And I suppose for us, the key takeaway was follow your passions. He could have stayed in his corporate job, but he quit that to follow what he really enjoys, which is travel and exploration.
Yeah.
And then we had the chance to talk to one of your Harvard colleagues, Florian Christ.
Yeah, he's a serial entrepreneur, and we had the opportunity to listen to his story, and there's so much learning from it. And his story is all about continuous learning, and he spent so much time learning from every opportunity, as well as getting additional help to continue to improve his skills.
Absolutely. And then episode 9 was with another one of your good friends, Krishan Deegler, who you've done some business with, and he has started an AI gaming company called Meta 11.
Yeah, so Krishan is a tech founder, entrepreneur, investor. It's an awesome story. Just like me, came from Sri Lanka as an international student, and he built himself over the years to amazing stories. So the lessons learned from that is amazing. And then the 10th episode, one of our favorite episodes, I think, is with one of our good friend, Duncan Lay.
Yeah.
And he's a published author. He published 9 books. And the learning from that story was amazing. And it's all about power of reading. And he looked up to characters of the books as his role models. It's an awesome story. And if you haven't listened to it, please go and make yourself a favor listen to it.
Absolutely. And then through my work in the circular economy space, I've been lucky enough to meet a few founders in the space as well. And one of those was Shania Supersiritad. And she started a company called Renter, which is in the re-commerce, trying to get secondhand items and start renting clothing
similar
items
to what
as well.
Dylan's trying to do with its Lendicon business.
Yeah, but in the fashion space. And so she had an incredible story from being a pastry chef to going into fashion. And I suppose the key takeaway for us was just do it. She, whenever there's an idea in her mind, she just goes out and gets it done. So that was a really good conversation.
Yeah. And then the 12th episode, we had Ryan Taylor, one of our good friends from Las Vegas. And his story is all about be yourself. And it's amazing. He actually wrote us a poem, rap. And he's a songwriter. And that was one of the highlights of that story.
That was a really good one. And then our latest release was with one of Mum's good friends, Michelle Knox, who is also an avid traveler. She, I think, has been to 95 countries, which is insane. And I suppose for us, it was a similar key takeaway from James's episode about following your passions and just doing the things that make you happy, even if that means you're living a non-traditional life.
Yeah. So what are the learnings out of this 13 episode, Dylan?
There's so many. I was just trying to think back to some of the little summaries that I do at the end and think about what are the common traits. And I think for me, one of the big ones is take every opportunity.
Yep.
I think a lot of the people that we've interviewed, whenever there is an opportunity presented, they don't hesitate too much.
Yep.
They just take it. And I think that ties into risk taking as well. It can be inevitably risky to have a decision in front of you which can change the course of your life. But from our discussions with people, they just take those opportunities and know that if you open one door, probably 5 more will open. And so I think that's been one of the key takeaways for me. How about you?
Yeah. There's multiple takeaways. One thing that I learned going through these discussions, there's a lot of like a trend. Most people are have the similar kind of characteristics.
Yeah.
Continuous learning, take every opportunity to learn and improve and just doing it rather than planning and thinking about it. They just go and do it. There's so many interesting things that we learn. That's why I quite like this, because this is a great conversation. All these podcasts unrehearsed. We never given them any structure or anything. We just sat down in front of microphone. We just had a conversation.
Yeah, a raw conversation, the raw answers. So,
absolutely. So it's just it's amazing. Some people really open up, and they actually thanked us after the session because they had the chance to sometimes release stuff that they never had the chance to tell anyone.
Offload some stories which they've been holding on to for a while. And I think that's a really powerful thing which we're really enjoying. It's not just the learning for us, but also sometimes our guests learn stuff as well, which is really wonderful.
That's one of the things that we initially thought when we start this podcast. What can we give back? Not just our learning and the learning that hearing from these stories. It's a great way to giving back to whoever listening to this podcast. And also now we are going through this 13 plus episodes. We see trends, right? So what we really wanted to do, we want to put this together eventually. This is just the beginning, right? We got a long way to go. If we can do 200 episodes, we're going to have an amazing story to tell.
Absolutely. And as part of that, we want to get your input as well. And so if you haven't seen it already, we have a website, thequestforsuccesspodcast.com. And on there, you can see all our episodes, but you can also click a red button at the top, which is called our success survey, which lets you have a say and lets us hear from you what success means to you, a bit about your story, and so that we can hear from so many more people rather than just the guests that we interview. And that will help us
absolutely
get a broader understanding of what success is.
And that's a great way for you to be part of this whole journey. And also, what's the plan for this week?
This week, we're releasing an episode with Deepak Narayanan, who's one of your Harvard colleagues.
Yeah. So Deepak is a founder of Practice. It's a global consultancy firm. And he had an amazing story. This guy is also a continuous learner. And he invests so much his time and energy into learning. And then also using that learning to give back to other people. And it's a great guy, great conversation. Don't miss this out.
Yeah, absolutely. Stay tuned for that one coming out on Thursday this week. And on that note, if you're not already, please follow us so that we can grow on Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to this. And I know some of you are listening on audio only. If you are more of a visual person, we also have a YouTube channel. Check that out and you can see the full episodes with video as well. And so thank you so much for listening. And we'd love your feedback on this short format, and whether it's something that you found useful. We're planning on doing it maybe weekly or fortnightly, just a little bit of a wrap up. And so on that note, we'll see you on Thursday. Until then.
Thank you so much.